This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Eloise Phillips, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Thursday, January 8th. China launched over 4 million cyber attacks during military drills around Taiwan. Analysts weigh in on what the US-Venezuela strike means for Taiwan. And Taiwan president vows to protect officials labelled die-hard separatists by China. But first, today's top story. Taiwan's National Security Bureau, NSB, said Thursday that more than 2 million cyber attacks targeted Taiwan's digital infrastructure during China's large-scale Justice Mission 2025 military drills around the island at the end of last year. The agency told lawmakers that, alongside air and naval maneuvers, Beijing deployed disinformation and cognitive warfare tactics, spreading nearly 20,000 false or misleading messages online. The Defense Ministry said China launched the drills between December 29th and 31st, claiming they were in response to Washington's approval of an $11.1 billion arms sale to Taipei. Chinese forces dispatched 210 warplanes, 17 Navy ships and 8 Coast Guard vessels in operations, such as Joint Air-Sea Combat Patrols and blockade control. Officials said Beijing combined legal, psychological and information warfare to undermine morale in Taiwan. Lieutenant General Lian Ziwei, the ministry's deputy chief of operations and planning, said the military is maintaining a high level of readiness. Taiwan's armed forces adhere to the principle of not escalating conflict nor provoking disputes, while continuing to strengthen joint operations, training to stay calm and prepared for any threat from the PLA, he said. National Security Bureau Deputy Director Jian Huaqing said Chinese cyber forces launched 2.08 million attacks on December 29th alone, rising to 2.09 million the next day. He added that Beijing used Chinese and English announcements about no-sail and no-fly zones, along with live-fire drills to spread fear and test Taiwan's resilience. The US decapitation strike against Venezuela has raised concerns about using force to change the status quo.
The Trump administration's recent decapitation-style military operation against Venezuela has sparked international debate over whether the use of force to change the status quo could have wider global consequences. An analysis by Reuters said the U.S. action could give China more political and rhetorical space on territorial issues involving Taiwan and the South China Sea. However, it emphasized that the move does not signal that Beijing will accelerate military action against Taiwan. Concerns have also emerged in Japan. According to Radio France Internationale, senior politicians warn that using force to alter the status quo could undermine East Asia's security order. Liberal Democratic Party Security Research Council Chairman Itsunori Onodera and Democratic Party for the People leader Yuichiro Tamaki both voiced unease over the precedent such actions might set. Writing for Bloomberg, columnist and Johns Hopkins University professor Hal Brands said the operation highlighted U.S. capabilities in blockades and rapid leadership decapitation, tactics Beijing could factor into its long-term thinking on potential Taiwan Strait scenarios. Most scholars cited said the move will not hasten a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Shi Yinhon, a professor at Renmin University in Beijing, said, "Any decision to attack Taiwan depends on China's still developing military capabilities, not U.S. actions in Latin America." Some analysts said the episode nevertheless gives Beijing what they describe as cheap ammunition. International Crisis Group analyst William Yang said Washington's move weakens its long-standing criticism of China over international law, opening room for Beijing to push back on Taiwan, Tibet, and regional maritime disputes. Asia Society China Politics researcher Neil Thomas said Beijing may use the moment to highlight contrasts with Washington, but is unlikely to view the Venezuela operation as a replicable model for Taiwan. Taiwanese security officials said the rapid collapse of Venezuelan forces reinforces deterrence, stressing that the real issue for Taiwan is capability, not precedent. Joey Chow for RTI News.
The PRC's State Council's Taiwan Affairs Office, or TAO, on Wednesday labelled Taiwan's Interior Minister Liu Shifang and Education Minister Cheng Yingyao as die-hard Taiwan independent separatists, and prosecutor from Taiwan's High Prosecutor's Office Chen Shuyi as a Taiwan independence thug accomplice, threatening lifelong accountability. This came days after Beijing wrapped up military drills encircling Taiwan from December 29th to 31st. President Lai Ching-te said Thursday that he feels pride as president for any Taiwanese facing China's cross-border repression without fear. He pledged to protect the country well and never allow China's hand to extend into Taiwan's soil.
As president, I feel proud of every person who has been subjected to China's cross-border repression, because even in the face of Chinese threats, whether it's Education Minister Cheng Yingyao, Interior Minister Liu Shifang, Prosecutor Chen from the Justice Ministry, or other officials and legislators, they all stand firm in their positions and fight for the country without fear of China's intimidation.
He urged political parties to support the nation at this critical time, advocating for a review of the special defense budget and the central government budget. Lai cited Japanese Senator Heiseki's visit to Taiwan on Tuesday after China barred his entry, proving the ROC and the PRC are not subordinate to each other, that China's public authority does not extend to Taiwan, and Taiwan is not part of the PRC. Targeted drills are not peaceful, he added, and united front infiltration or cross-border repression will not achieve unification. Lai praised officials such as Chang, Liu, Chen and other lawmakers who are standing firm. Mainland Affairs Council, or MAC, Minister Chiu Chui-cheng said Wednesday that those labelled are public servants protecting the ROC and Taiwan, and that Taiwanese people will stand with them as their backbone. Chiu expressed strong protest and condemnation, vowing necessary actions to defend sovereignty, judicial authority, citizen safety and welfare. China should bear full responsibility for any destabilizing consequences, he said. Cambodia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation press release issued December 31st states that the People's Republic of China is the sole lawful government representing the whole of China and that Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The ministry says issues regarding Taiwan are therefore China's internal affairs and that it supports China's effort to achieve national reunification while opposing any form of Taiwan independence. Taiwan's foreign ministry responded this Wednesday, saying it regretted the Cambodian government's submission to China's authoritarian actions and strongly condemned the country's dissemination of remarks that disparaged Taiwan's sovereignty. They condemned the claims, calling them absurd deviations from the facts. The foreign ministry reiterated that Taiwan and China are not subordinate to each other, that the CCP has never ruled Taiwan, and that no country has the right or the ability to deny the objective existence of Taiwan. The ministry emphasized Taiwan's willingness to cooperate with all countries that support freedom, democracy, and human rights to jointly curb the expansion of authoritarianism, safeguard peace and security across the Taiwan Strait, and maintain freedom and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. One woman in Tainan took a craving to a whole new level, recruiting 100 strangers to make her wish come true.
Are Taiwanese banquets only for weddings and year-end company celebrations? One woman from Tainan craved banquet food so much she recruited 100 strangers to eat alongside her. The woman said that as fewer friends were getting married and she had fewer opportunities to eat the iconic dishes served at banquets, she began reminiscing about how it felt to have a group of friends gathered around the table. The longing prompted her to turn to the internet to recruit people who would contribute 1,400 NT dollars or $45 each. To her surprise, in less than 24 hours, over 80 people had already signed up. She said that many were solo diners and that they also arranged tables for introverted people so they wouldn't have to interact with others. Tristan Hildebrand for RTI News.
Taipei City plans to provide free lunches to all elementary and junior high school students beginning as early as this September. This Wednesday, the Taiwan Parents Education Alliance, or TPEA, called for a clause to exclude children from wealthy families in order to direct funds to disadvantaged students, offering additional subsidies of up to 3 meals per day. Taipei Mayor Chiang Wan-an announced that approximately 180,000 students will benefit from the program, worth $63 million at a municipal meeting on Tuesday. In a press release issued Wednesday, the TPEA voiced concern that Taipei's policy could divert funding from other education needs if it is adopted by cities and counties nationwide. They also expressed concern about mayoral candidates making similar campaign promises ahead of the elections at the end of this year. Wang Xingzhi, chair of the TPEA, encouraged other city and county leaders to make prudent education investments, saying such policies may appear fair but do little to address Taiwan's severely low birth rate or meaningfully prioritize education. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Eloise Phillips. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.